Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And as promised, joining us once again, he was with us on show number 1. I don't even know what show number this is the one and only Donald Trump. Hey, Donald, how are you?
Hi, Steve.
Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, Steve.
You've been very, very busy traveling to Iowa and talking about running for president.
Well, I've been busy in a lot of ways. We're building all over the world, and we're doing Doral in Miami, which is going to be incredible, and we're doing the old post office on Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington. So I've been busy in a lot of ways, but I've certainly been busy politically. I just believe so strongly in it. I believe so strongly in the country. And, Steve, as you know, I hate to see what's happening, and I'm sure you do, too.
It is very unsettling as a father of a 14-year-old. It is horrible. But let me, you played golf with John Boehner?
I did.
And could you give us a little information into what you guys were talking about, a little insight into what you guys discussed?
Well, we played at Trump National in Bedminster. He's a nice golfer, too. He's a very good golfer. He's a very, very good guy. And I always say he's got the toughest job in the country. I think he might have the toughest, the number one toughest. But we discussed certain things, Steve, and, you know, whatever we discussed, we discussed. But he's out there doing his job. It's not an easy one.
All right, well, let me ask you this, without having to say, yes, you discussed this or not. Do you think, A, that the Congress will, and B, that the Congress should take a stand, defund Obamacare, and then, you know, everybody says, well, then they'll be responsible for closing down the government if the president doesn't go by along with that and the Democrats don't buy into it. But as the head of the RNC finally said yesterday or Sunday on the Sunday shows, it won't be the Republicans shutting down the government. The media will present it that way, but it'll be the president shutting down the government. So do you think, A, they will, and B, they should take that tact?
Well, let's start off by saying the following. Obamacare is a disaster. Obamacare will shut down the government of its own weight pretty soon if we don't do something about it. So that's an important statement to make. I happen to think that the Republicans have tremendous leverage at this point, and I disagree when I know all the arguments. I disagree with the people that say, let's let it ride. I think this is the time, and I think they have to do something about it. I have friends that are going to be closing up their businesses next year. I have other friends that are hiring all part-time people because this way they're exempt. You look at Congress itself is exempt from Obamacare.
Right.
So I would take a hard stand on it, and I would do something else. I would absolutely approve the budget, but I would not approve Obamacare. In other words, I'd approve the budget because politically speaking, I think it's important that they do that. Approve a budget, but I would not include Obamacare in the budget. That way, at some point, they'll have to make a decision. Do we get rid of this monster, which is an absolute monster? And by the way, the Democrats know about it 100%. They know what's going on. They know how bad it is. Do we get rid of it or don't we get rid of it? And that's what I would do.
All right. I hope you told that to John Boehner because apparently he doesn't have the stomach for that.
Well, a lot of people don't. And the hard part for the Republicans is you have a group of people that want to do it, and you have a group of other Republicans that don't want to do it. And that puts the ones that want to do it in a very bad position. You really need to be unified if you're going to do this. This is a big move, but you can't have half of them wanting to do it and half of them not wanting to do it. Personally, I think they have the chips. That's what I do for a living. It's called negotiation, and I think they have the chips. And I think they should use the chips because they may not have another chance.
I am with you 100%. We're talking, of course, Donald Trump here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me throw some names at you. And, of course, you were to Iowa. Senator Ted Cruz. First of all, I mean, whether he was born in Canada, either he's going to be eligible or ineligible to run for president. If he's eligible, let's just talk about the man. I mean, he might be an opponent of yours in the primaries, but do you fall more on the Ted Cruz side of the party, and I think you do from what you just said, or more on the Chris Christie, Peter King side of the party?
Well, they're all friends of mine, and I like all of them. I met Ted Cruz really for the first time this weekend. I met him with his father, and I thought he was outstanding. I thought he was just terrific. We had a long conversation, and we'll get together at some point in the not-too-distant future. And, you know, it's sort of interesting because I was interviewed by ABC this week, and it was a fair interview.
Well, I'm going to get to that because they were not fair to you, but we're going to save that for the very end here.
The first question they asked was birther, and then all of a sudden they start with the whole birther thing. And, you know, they asked me a question about birther, and you know my feelings. I don't have to explain
No, but here's the thing, Jonathan. I want you to pick up where you just left off, and I have the tape, but I won't play it because of time constraints. But he said he brought it up to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, they bring it up to me.
Yeah, and then later on World News Tonight or the next morning, Carl comes on and says, and Donald Trump is still talking about that birth certificate. Right. So that's misleading.
Right, totally misleading. And I thought, generally speaking, it was a fair interview, but I didn't think that was fair. He brings up the birther, and I said exactly what I said, and you know exactly what I said, and probably not so different from what many of the other Republicans feel and many people feel. There's a real question. But he brought it up to me, and the next day I'm reading all over the place that I brought it up, and it's just so dishonest. And I think people are aware of how dishonest the media can be. I mean, it's just shocking. And I said to him, I want to talk about China. I want to talk about OPEC. I want to talk about
economy,
how this country is getting killed from an economic standpoint by virtually everybody we do business with. And that's what I want to talk about when he brought up the whole thing on Bertha. But it was like Trump brings up the Bertha subject. It's really
I noticed that right away. I did a whole segment on that yesterday.
Oh, that's great.
It was outrageous.
Very dishonest.
But let me get back to, please, Chris Christie. You like him?
I do like him. Well, he's a friend of mine.
Okay, but politically.
Well, I've liked Chris, and again, it's too early to talk about this, but I've liked Chris. I don't even know if Chris is going to be running. I mean, he's got a race right now, which he's going to do very well in, I hope, but I don't know that Chris is going to be running. I really like to talk about people when they announce their running.
Okay, well, let's talk about you. You've said that if you run, you will spend as much as it takes to win. So you would get into this even if the coronation of Hillary on the Democratic side takes place?
Well, a lot of people are saying that's what's going to happen. I have a theory, and I know Hillary very well, and I know Bill very well. I have a theory that it's never going to be so easy. You know, I've seen a lot of coronations take place that haven't taken place. And you've watched it. I've watched it. Actually, Hillary was going to get it the last time, and it was, you know, there was nobody in her way. And Obama came along, and Obama snatched it. So a lot of early coronations don't mean a lot.
All right, foreign policy, the whole embassy shutdown. Do you believe we should have done what we did, or should we have not fortified the embassies and said, you know, we're evacuating our non-essential personnel, even evacuate everybody, but don't say you're closing the embassy. Have the Marines called in. I mean, did you agree with the way Obama handled all that?
Well, I think, look, you can go either way. What really bothers me even more than that, I wasn't thrilled with it, obviously, and I'm sure you weren't thrilled with it. Who is? But what bothered me more than anything is Benghazi. We know who did it, and that we don't go and take these people out, to me, is incredible, because what they did was unbelievable, and that they get away with it, and that we don't go in and get them. Major retribution, to me, was more bothersome than anything.
And what about Putin? Is he walking all over this president and playing games with him with regards to Snowden?
Well, he has been walking all over the president, and he is using that Snowden character, who I happen to think is a terrible guy and a total traitor.
I agree with you,
and
yep.
He should be tried. He has made our life so difficult with other nations. Forgetting about the individual secrets that he's given out, and there's been plenty. People that thought we were these wonderful, the wonderful United States of America, and we're going to have this great relationship, and we have a wonderful, all of a sudden they find out they've been spied on and listened to, and telephone conversations, and all of the things. He has made it so impossible for our country to do business with other places that it is just unbelievable. He is a traitor, and he should be tried under the strictest laws and strictest rules, and he should come back, and we should get him back. And that Putin is playing the game is amazing. But the problem is Putin has no respect for Obama.
Well, absolutely. Do you think a boycott of the Olympics with your sports background would be a good thing or not?
No, I don't think so. I think the last one to try that was Jimmy Carter. And I believe it was Jimmy Carter. Yeah, I think it was Jimmy Carter. And, we all know about Jimmy Carter. No, I don't see that. I think that's unfair to a lot of people, including the athletes in particular. And it would just be, if there was respect, we would have Snowden back here so quickly.
Right.
But we should get Snowden back.
Absolutely.
And he should be tried as a traitor. He has really hurt this country.
I couldn't agree. One more for 10 seconds. Hillary versus Trump. You would spend what? I want to follow up because I didn't follow up, and I'm blaming myself now. I'd be remiss if I left you this way. You would spend whatever it would take, even if she were the nominee. That would not deter you from running if you decided to run?
If I decide to run, I will spend, I don't know who you'd be running against, but if I decide to run, as you know, I have a very, very substantial
That's
network.
what I hear, Donald, yes.
I've put a lot of people out there, a lot of people to great jobs,
Yep.
great education, great health care. I take care of a lot of people, thousands and thousands of people. If I decided to run, I would spend whatever I thought it was necessary. The Republicans have to win. I don't know if it's going to be Hillary or who it's going to be, but the Republicans have to win. We have to turn this country around.
Well, God bless you for saying that. I couldn't agree with you more. Donald, thank you so much. I hope we speak again soon.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Take care. That's
Bye.
Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen. Covered a lot of ground, and there's a lot of ground to cover because he's a man with a lot of opinions, a lot of money, a lot of power, and he has a lot of good ideas. He absolutely has a lot of good ideas, but he's victimized by the media as he was by Jonathan Karl on ABC. He realizes that he's outspoken about it, but if he ran for president, he would say to these reporters and these commentators, hey, what the heck are you talking about? Hey, I didn't say that. What are you doing? But the problem with Romney and McCain and Republicans in general is they accept that they're going to lose the war in the media. They accept they're going to be criticized, and they back off, and they don't want to fight.